Alright, fuck it. I'm not gonna lie, I have never wanted to make a Nairobi Half Life review. Not because I don't like the movie, but I can swear I've heard everyone talking about it ever since I was a kid. It's literally the only good mainstream unanimously liked Kenyan film. Hell, I'm sure your stupid old uncle was watching it while he was having an affair cheating on your auntie. Nairobi Half Life is the blueprint for Kenyan movies. In case you've watched a Kenyan drama movie or TV show that was produced in Kenya after 2012, 70% of the time it's copying Nairobi Half Life. One way or another, you have seen this movie indirectly. I feel like I will not do this review enough justice, but regardless, you people voted for it, Vox Populi Vox Dei. Alright, I'll try to make this as brief as possible. Here we go. I recently saw my analytics and I was shocked. 84% of people who actually watch this channel are not even subscribed. And come on guys, that's not cool. I put a lot of effort into these videos and I know I'm not owed any likes or subscribers, but it's the least you guys can do. Let's make a deal. I want to earn those likes and subs. Look at me right now. Look at these bitch tits. Look at all these flubs of tummy. Look at all this fat. I'll make a deal. If I get 5,000 likes, if I get at least 1,000 new subscribers from this video, today is on the 2nd of April 2026 at exactly 12 p.m. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will go 30 days without eating anything and I will post progress here. I want to earn it and I want to bet my whole health into it. Nairobi Half Life follows the story of Moss, Joseph Wairimu, a young man from a rural village who dreams of becoming a professional actor.
Naweza kuaje actor?
Uko poa.
Thanks.
Ignoring his family's skepticism, he travels to Nairobi with only his ambition and a small bag of belongings. His Nairobi dream is immediately shattered upon arrival when he is mugged off of everything he owns. Stranded and desperate, Mwasi is arrested and thrown into a crowded prison cell. There, he meets Oti, a charismatic but hardened gang leader who takes him under his wing. After their release, Mwasi joins Oti's crew, surviving by stealing car parts and eventually graduating to high-stakes carjackings. Despite his criminal activities, Mwasi does not give up on his dream. He auditions for a professional play at the Phoenix Players Theatre and successfully lands a role. This begins a dangerous half-life. By day, he rehearses for a stage production that explores social class and inequality. By night, he runs with Oti's gang, navigating the violent streets and evading corrupt police officers. During this time, he also forms a tender relationship with Amina, a local sex worker who is Oti's love interest. The two worlds collide when a gang war and a police crackdown leads to the arrest of Oti's crew. Corrupt police officers take the gang to a secluded execution site to disappear them. A chaotic skirmish erupts, and while his companions are killed, Mwasi narrowly survives and flees through the city streets. He arrives at the theater just as the curtain raises, battered and bloodied, and delivers a powerful improvised monologue that blurs the line between his character plight and his own reality. The film ends with Mwasi on stage finally achieving his dream of being an actor, but at the cost of his innocence and the lives of those who helped him survive. The end. One thing I love about this movie, and I think it is the strongest bragging point as Kenya's greatest film, is its dialogue.
Enda ukajitie mtu hapo nyoto wewe.
Haina mambo.
What is the point of robbing without stealing?
Inaone mambo bad.
The main language spoken in this film was Gikuyu and Swahili. Why this is so important is because of how natural the dialogue feels. The interaction between different characters in the story is believable. It kind of sounds like something that you will speak daily. Check this out. Take a look at this scene right here. It's basically an interaction between the protagonist Mwasi and a whore. She is enticing him to pay for her services and the exchange in dialogue is downright comical.
Yeah, so ndakuguzisha vizuri hata utashi. Kuwa mnyonge, so tu. Haya tufanye 50 bob basi. Na mimi nakwambia kufanya mastyle zingine hata wewe mwenyewe hujaicheki. Mbao. Blue nao ni mwisho. Na mimi nakwambia hata kesho utakam.
Because it's not even a negotiation, it's literally this sex worker almost giving herself to Mwasi for free. But the exchange in the dialogue is almost comical because the situation is reversed. It's not Mwasi who is driving a hard bargain. It's the sex worker lowering the price for her services. The thing about this scene, in my opinion, is it only works in Swahili. If another language was used, it would be downright cringe and a turn-off. This exchange felt natural because if you were a Kenyan, you know that this is how a typical sex negotiation worker goes. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I've ever been to a brothel, but I feel like this is how it goes. And if you're a foreign audience reading the subtitles, you buy this negotiation. It works. It makes sense. The idea that writing realistic dialogue that almost seems like improv throughout the whole movie makes me, the audience, immersed in the story. Another perfect example I can give you is this joke right here. This banter works because the delivery is flawless in a language that you can relate to. The English-speaking scenes also work because it's used in moderation, in serious occasions or whenever Mwasi is trying to reenact a scene from a movie.
It isn't sharing when you take stuff from them and give it to others. It's theft.
The story is relatable. A young naive kid from a rural kid with the ambitious dreams of being an actor. However, he ends up being mixed up with the wrong crowd and experiences a roller coaster of events. The story isn't just focused on Moss. It manages to be a rather bold take on the reality of social commentary of the current state of being born unlucky, while also being a commentary of the rogue police systems, poverty and chasing dreams, prostitution, and a rom-com subplot. The film doesn't give you a happy ending. Everything that can go wrong for Moss does go wrong for Moss. The only silver lining in his story arc is he finally got the girl of his dreams and his dream job of being an actor. But at what cost? Why the character Moss works is because we see seeds planted from the very first shot of the film. He is enacting a scene from the Zack Snyder movie 300.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Spartans, what is your profession?
And you can see the naivety of being an actor. Yes, he has the passion, but he also absolutely has zero direction. All he knows is Nairobi is the Kenyan version of Hollywood. And once he goes to Nairobi, all his dreams and prayers will be answered. That's his logic, that's his fantasy. But he's met with a rude awakening. In my opinion, I think the biggest form of character growth for Moss was when, at the beginning of the story, these circus-like people who came to perform at his local village robbed him off of his only money that he had from selling DVDs because they saw how gullible he was. But later during the movie, Moss actually stepped up and helped his gang crew to not get ripped off by this shady car parts dealer guy.
Enda ukajitie mtu hapo nyoto wewe.
Si ndio dunga wax. Ni lazima tujenge ganji yetu.
He also stood up for the crew whenever a rival crew was challenging their boss. And also, if you think about it, Moss was low-key running the group. He introduced them to bigger heists. They went from robbing car parts to carjacking. They went from making garbage money to making hundreds of thousands of shillings. You can see that this is not the same person that could not stand up for himself at the beginning of the movie. His raw acting in the streets and entertaining people for free seemed like the works of a jest at the beginning. But if you really think about it, he was actually practicing for his first ever play. Moss was actually more experienced than these other rookies despite being a first-time actor. But my favorite part about Moss was his speech improvement. At the beginning of the film, you could see that these two bozos roasting him for shrubbing and having a Gikuyu dialect.
I would like to join the vultures.
Hey, I'd like to join them.
And at the end of the movie, he gives an almost perfect monologue with clear speech, and he has kind of lost his old dialect and shrubbing.
Have we chosen this, our life? Or have we taken it for granted?
This is growth. One thing I loved about this movie is its over-reliance on using ambient lighting. Ambient lighting in filmmaking refers to the existing natural or artificial light already present in a scene, essential for establishing mood, realism, and continuity. The ambient lighting for the majority of this scene was the natural lighting, the sun. They shot outdoors. They used street lights. The cinematography almost felt like you were shooting a documentary about this character Moss, documenting his journey and his struggles. The low saturated color grading in the slum areas and the Nairobi exterior shots evoke a feeling of somber and despair. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. Everything, including the horizon, seems hopeless. You feel trapped in this dull, tiring world of gang violence, corruption, and decadence. Scenes in rural Kenya were surprisingly graded better with more saturation because the rural version of Moss was literally a guy living in a bubble, loved by the whole community and hopeful in his cocooned bubble of dreams. Another thing I loved about the cinematography is the use of telephoto lenses. Take a look at these two shots right here. We first see Moss walking lost in the streets of Nairobi. The shot is up close with a very narrow depth of field. This is Moss blending into his environment. You can tell that he realized that he is alone after getting robbed. Literally a fish out of water. He has no one beside him and he feels hopeless. We then cut to this ultra-wide shot that starts as a mid-shot which zooms out to show how lost of a character he is. A small fragment of nothingness in the vast city of Nairobi. He's lost, he's all alone, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. This is epic directing from Tosh Gitonga and good editing from these guys. I know this looks like a small insignificant thing, but it's moments like this that elevates a mediocre movie into a masterpiece. Other great things I like about this movie is the costume designs for the characters. You can tell a lot of work and research went into it. The location and sets were epic. Also, the soundtrack was good. I actually heard some of these songs for the first time while watching it, and they fit so well with the scenes they were playing over. Similar movies including Tsotsi from South Africa, City of God from Brazil, Lahain from France, which all explore this whole gang shit, have been made. And if you're a newbie watcher, you will think that this is original. But if you actually sat down and consumed foreign cinema from different countries, you can tell that this is an easy land. This is an easy basket, a layup. This is the easiest story that you can tell and not fumble. Gangs, violence, crime. It's almost a home run every time you make it. You can never go wrong with this. And that kind of makes me sick because I can think of 5 different ways that I could have told this story differently that that doesn't involve gangs, but regardless, it doesn't take away from the impact. It just doesn't feel original, especially if you've watched a lot of movies. If you watch independent movies, movies from Brazil, movies from France, movies that have actually won Best International Feature Film at the Oscars, like City of God, you will know that this story isn't that much original. Also, another thing that kind of made me distracted was the directing from Tosh Gitonga. You could feel that this was his first movie because a lot of rookie mistakes were getting made that you cannot just ignore them. This thing with the extras and the lack of blocking could have easily been solved by reshoots, retakes. We do retakes for such things. I mean, come on. Also, there is this scene in the middle of the movie where we kind of find ourselves in a Mexican standoff and this nigga just cocks his gun right here. And you can see that there's literally nothing in the chamber, no bullet. Like this is a cold gun, an empty gun. It's just funny because this is something that can easily be corrected in post-production, or I don't know, just cut this whole scene out by switching to another shot. I mean, it's so small scenes like this is what separates a good movie from a mediocre movie. Like, And sometimes I also felt like the pacing was a bit off. Some scenes and some storylines in the movie feels like they could have been explained more. I wanted to see more about the operations of how the gangs were, the rival gangs. I wanted to see why they were rivals. I wanted to see their history. There is this abandoned storyline about how Mwas was supposed to take some electronics to be repaired by this Indian guy, and this Indian guy kind of screwed him because he was robbed.
Promise nitakutafutia sembe dadiem.
Jinga kumamako. Toka.
I wanted to see more of this. It felt like a really pivotal moment for Mwa's character development, and we just got to see a glimpse of it and it never happened again. I wanted to see the consequences of this. The most that happened is we're just beaten up and that's about it. I feel like this is a storyline that should have been left in the cutting room because at the end of the day, if all it took for him was just getting beaten up and we end the side quest, then what's the point of it being there? Also, we see that Mwas is a really good actor, but I felt like we should have seen more scenes of him rehearsing, more scenes of him playing, like more scenes of him being an actor. We saw the gangster side more than the actor side. It's called Nairobi Half Life. I want to see an equal amount of screen time for both Mwas as a criminal and Mwas as an actor. I felt like we got more of the criminal side and less of the acting side. If the story is being a mixture of both worlds, like Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana, show us both. In conclusion, the movie was good. The flaws that I've earlier mentioned are just negligible. You can easily forget that these flaws exist and you can still enjoy the movie. This is actually the only good Kenyan movie that I can say is marketable internationally, because in as much as we talk about Rafiki also being good, Rafiki was kind of not made by Kenyans for the most part. A lot of the people behind the scenes were foreigners. This movie, Nairobi Half Life, was through and through effort of Kenyans. Even though Tosh Gitonga was shadow directing it, Kenyans worked on this film, but it kind of sucks this nigga picked. Here, ever since this movie, Tosh Gitonga has gone on a record of making garbage. It's almost as if he just wants to outshine him. Oh, yosem nadhani movie nilimake ni ujinga, hata sasa naonyesha ufala. He's gone and outshined himself and making garbage after garbage after garbage. It's almost impossible to think that this is the same guy that made this masterpiece. Tosh Gitonga is the definition of mngema akisifiwa, tembo hulitia maji. This fucking nigga picked in 2012. Like that stupid uncle of yours who loves sleeping with random women. Tosh Gitonga loves making bad movies. He is addicted to it. But I digress. I'm gonna give it a 8.5 out of 10. That's really generous given that this is a really retold story. Nairobi Half Life is a good movie that you should go watch it, and please forget that any other thing after this movie made by Tosh Gitonga exists.